Hello, 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 my real cuties, and welcome back to Queen's Table. It's your girl, Queen S, and we are back with another episode. As always, please like, share, subscribe, and do all that good stuff, baby, because you don't want to miss our next episode now, do we? I don't think so. And before we get started, you already know that we have to start off with our golden mantra, so repeat after me. I come with an open heart and mind to take a seat at the table. And as you allow these words to process and marinate within your mind, body, your spirit, and your soul, I want you to also remember a couple of things. Your perspective matters, and the way that you think matters as well. And I hope while you take this seat at this table for today's table talk conversation, that you get a better understanding of why your perspectives are what they are, or at least be open and willing to change them. I hope you understand that you can continuously work on yourself and show up at the same time, regardless of what society tells you. And most importantly, know that God don't play about you, because he don't play about me. And that's on what? Mary had a little lamb. I said what I said, okay? And on that note, let's get right into today's table talk conversation, where it's all about accountability, baby. Being able to be accounted for. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Being held accountable is not as easy as people try to make it seem, and it's not as simple as well. When it comes down to being able to hold yourself accountable, I think where people fall short at is there's a level of grace that also needs to reside in that same aspect, right? I can hold myself accountable for how I chose to show up. I can hold myself accountable for the words that came out my mouth. But in that same aspect, I still owe myself enough grace and space to learn from that situation or learn from that mistake and do better the next go around. I can only speak from my own personal experience, and I don't ever want my personal experience to be geared outside of anything besides my personal experience. I don't want it to be shown as me being petty, me being childish. I mean, if that's how you take it, that's how you take it. That's between you and God, But that isn't the direction that I'm trying to gear towards when it comes down to any of these conversations. However, I'm a real person. I've gone a very, very long time within my own self that I can stand 10 toes down behind anything that comes out my mouth. So if you want to check me about something, checkmate. Okay? But I say all of this to say this. My first taste of what not holding yourself accountable looks like has been through my parents. And I'm not going to go into details about their scenario or their situation, but their relationship for a very long time, neither one of them held each other accountable. Accountable in the way that they showed up for each other emotionally. Accountable in the way that they showed up for each other physically. Accountable in the way that they showed up for each other mentally, financially, spiritually. I ain't going to say the other one because I ain't got nothing to do with me, but you get what I'm saying. Neither one of them held each other to a standard when it comes down to, hey, I'm going to make sure that you understand that you're falling short until there was nothing left. I use them as an example because within my own relationship with my parents, within my own relationship with my mother, a lot of the discomfort, a lot of the disagreement, a lot of the misuse of words that she chose to speak over me was only because she'd gone a very long time without anybody else checking her. So how can I let you, my seed, now think that you could just talk to me any type of way? How? I made you. I put you in this where I could take you out. I'm not doing nothing wrong. I'm not saying wrong. All I'm saying is, ouch, you hurt me. I'm allowed to say, ouch, you hurt me, without it being a tug of war when it comes down to who has enough power. It's not about power when it comes down to accountability. It's just all about being accounted for. When it comes down to being held accountable, when it comes down to being held to a different level of accountability, there is going to be a lot of discomfort. And the reason why there's going to be a lot of discomfort is because you are in uncharted waters. You are in a new territory, in a new environment. You might be there by yourself. But I'm over here by myself trying to bring y'all to shore with me when it comes down to this accountability island. And there's resentment. There's back and forth. There's disagreement. There's discomfort. There's just a whole bunch of mess. And all I'm trying to do is bring you on this accountability island with me. And that's crazy. But is it? If we take it a step further, I know I'm not the only one as a child that was told to stay in a child's place. That was told that I did not know what I was talking about when I tried to articulate my feelings. When I said I did not want to be in certain rooms with certain people, when I said I did not want to go to certain places, certain things, and you forced me to go there, and then you get upset because I'm sleepy. You get upset because I'm tired. You get upset because I'm not paying attention. Is that on me or is that on you for not listening to me? Since we were kids, there was a level of accountability that we could not force upon our elders. We could not force upon our parents. We couldn't force upon anybody who was older than us because you had to respect your elders. But me asking you to watch your mouth when talking to me asking you to not touch me this way, me asking you for these special requirements of boundaries being respected, that's not coming from a child's place. That's coming from me to you. But for a very long time, we as a society, we as a culture, we as Black people, we tell kids that you do not have a say-so because you're a child. Well, I hate to tell y'all something. That child is still going to be a young adult. That young adult is still going to be, soon going to be an adult. And then what? They're going to walk around their lives not holding themselves or not holding their peers or the people that they have around them accountable because they don't know what that looks like. So when we talk about the conversation of accountability and lack of, we also have to talk about the ignorance behind that. We also have to talk about the lack of awareness when it comes down to that. It's not impossible to hold yourself accountable, but how can you hold yourself accountable when nobody else around you is doing the same? You're not going to look at yourself and say, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. Let me step outside of myself to correct this. You're going to look around like, well, if y'all don't see nothing wrong, I don't see nothing wrong. That was me for a very, very, very long time when it comes down to my parents, especially my mother, because I didn't realize that the way that I was speaking to people was a direct reflection of the way that I was spoken to, right? For example, I recall vividly that I would hold conversations with people and my direct response to them trying to intake my information would be, well, I don't care. I don't care. Take it or leave it. I don't care. I said what I said and then what? I said what I said and then what? What you gonna do about it? You can't put no fear in my heart. You can't. You should be disgusted. But no, my mouth used to be reckless. I mean, my mouth is still reckless, but I have a lot more control of how reckless my mouth can get. But my mouth is still reckless. But back then, baby, you couldn't check me about nothing. I didn't care that your feelings were hurt. These words had to come out, right? Someone had to check you. So why not get checked by Queen? Why not get checked by me? I'm going to check you. I didn't care about how the words were being said, how the words were being taken, how the words were being spoken over somebody else. I didn't care about none of that. I just knew that I had to get my words out and they were going to come out one way or another. So you better be looking at they're coming out this way. That's great. Sandra. Look at that, girl. Thank God for growth. That's all I got to say. Thank the Lord for growth because, baby, we needed it, right? But I used to talk crazy to people, and it wasn't until after I graduated college and I was moving in Charlotte. I moved to Charlotte, and I was going through a lot emotionally. I was going through so much emotionally. I was going through a lot emotionally as well as mentally and physically. There were things that I wanted to do, things that I was trying to do, things that I thought that I was going to do but couldn't do. And my mind was kind of like all over the place. And I remember I called my mom, and at the time I lost my job, and I literally was running through my savings like there was no tomorrow. And at the time I was living with my homeboy. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. I was living with my homeboy and his homeboy. So it was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. So I was staying with my homeboy, and I literally was contemplating going back to Broward. I was contemplating. And he was like, Sandbands. Sandbands. You can't leave me, dog. You can't leave me. I got you. I'll pay your rent. And for somebody like me, like, been 10 toes down on her own, been handling on her own, you're not going to come and tell me that you're going to pay my rent and think that I'm going to just be Gucci with it. I'm like, no, you don't have to pay my rent. I'll figure it out. And he's like, I got you, bro. I got you. I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to leave Charlotte. Like, just let me help you. And I'm like, no, just the simple fact that you're, offering is enough for me. And I called my mom just out of desperation, just out of like, my back is against the wall. You don't even know how bad my back is against the wall. I just need my mom right now. And I call her, and I was like, hey, Mom, I was just seeing if, you could help me out with my car insurance. She spazzed. When I mean that lady spazzed on me, She spazzed on me, y'all. She spazzed on me. And I was so triggered because I'm like, whoa, ma'am, I don't even call you and ask you for anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't like to hear you talk crazy to me. But you don't even know what I've gone through mentally these past couple of months. And I'm reaching out to you just out of desperation. This is what coming out your mouth. You talking crazy to your child because I told you I need help with my car insurance? What the? Are we both peeping game about the same conversation? Like, huh? And I remember I was so overwhelmed that I literally told her, I'm like, I cannot believe that you're talking to me like this. Like, I cannot believe it. And I said goodbye, and I hung up. And I don't hang up on my mom. I don't hang up on my dad. I think that's super disrespectful. But in that moment, ma'am, I don't want to hear this. So I banged. And so she kept calling. I literally just played my gospel music, and I just literally cried because I'm like, you really hurt my feelings even more now than you've ever done before because you don't even know what I'm going through right now. And in that moment, I realized that the only reason why she felt comfortable talking to me like that is because I never checked her before about it. I brushed it aside. Okay, you're my mom. You mean well. You mean well when it comes down to me. You may not know how to say it, but okay, I get what you're trying to say. Okay, you're just upset. Okay. No. Words hurt. Words hurt. They hurt like hell. Okay, and words hold power. And I am a firm believer that the words that are spoken over you by your parents, who you got their blood running through your vessel, let's not even go there. But I knew that after that conversation that I had an obligation to respect myself enough to hold my mother accountable when it comes down to the words that she speaks over me and how she speaks to me. And so from that situation on, I would literally always check her, like, watch your mouth. 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 And she would look at me like I'm crazy, like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, I'm talking to you. Like, watch how you speak over me. Because how you speak over me is how I'm going to accept other people to speak over me. And I'm not going to accept that. And it wasn't until in that moment that I realized that I was spewing the same level of just nastiness without even knowing it verbally that my mom was spewing over me to other people. And once I knew better, I gave myself grace and said, hey, you didn't know what you know now. So how are we going to move better? How are we going to move differently from here? How are we going to move forward over here? Okay, now that you know that you don't like the way that your mother speaks over you because you realize in the long run how hurtful it is, then you can't in return speak to anybody else in that same manner. So you got to do the work. You got to go back on the drawing board. You got to check yourself as many times as you need to until you get to the finish line. This happened 2017, 2018. I'm still checking myself when it comes down to holding myself accountable when it comes to the way that I speak to others. Still to this day. But in that same aspect, I'm giving myself grace because I know I'm not where I once was, and that's enough. Holding yourself accountable is an everyday process because you cannot quickly unlearn something that was learned non-verbally, verbally for years. You've been sitting in this discomfort feeling. You've been sitting in this dark cloud for years. You're just not going to wake up tomorrow and it's just going to be peachy clean rainbows and sunshine and butterflies. It's not going to happen just that quickly, but it happens in the small things. It happens over time, but accountability is needed and it's a two-way street. If I'm going to hold you accountable, I also have to hold myself accountable too. And I'm still choosing to this day to hold myself accountable to the best of my ability because it's an everyday process. Last year, I got into it with one of my friends. And the reason why we got into it, it wasn't even anything that she did. It was me. Long story short, we were walking her dog and I grabbed the dog bag. And I'm walking around with this dog bag. I'm literally walking around with this dog bag. And we're done walking her dog. And I still have this dog poop bag in my hand. And I'm like, your dog didn't poop yet. And she's like, yes, he did. He pooped back there. And I'm like, what do you mean he pooped back there? And she's like, he pooped back there. And I just started snapping. What do you mean he pooped back there? You had me walk around with this bag in my hand. Mind you, this bag is empty. This bag ain't got not one lick of poop, not one little nothing. Okay? You got me walking around here with this bag. And I literally watched my friend fold. And when I mean fold, it's not like fold under pressure, but fold emotionally like, whoa. Where's this coming from? I ain't even do nothing. And even if I did do something, it is not this deep for you to go this hard in the paint over. And in that moment, I saw myself through her and I saw me as my mother. And I felt like crap. Okay? I felt like crap. And I could not for the life of me figure out what made that small situation become so big. Was it the fact that I felt like as soon as I grabbed the doggy bag that there should have been some form of communication like, hey, such and such poop back there or whatever the case may be? What made it so extreme that I felt like that was the best reaction to give in that moment? I couldn't come up with nothing. I couldn't come up with nothing because nothing happened that was that deep to result in that much level of disrespect. Nothing happened to result in that much disrespect in that moment towards her over a doggy bag. So I took the time to process and I reached out to her and I first apologized to her and she told me that I hurt her feelings and, she cried about it. And that made me even more sad because I'm like, whoa, I did not mean to make you cry. Like, that's the last thing or whatever the case may be. And I had to be honest with her, and I had to let her know, like, listen, I'm in a season of my life where I am unlearning and learning a lot of things in real time. And I apologize ahead of time because I am going to fall short. All I ask of you is to be patient with me and to give me grace and space to get there. And most importantly, check me about it. If I'm overstepping, check me. If I'm doing too much, check me. Because it's a two-way street. Accountability is a two-way street. Just as much as I need to be checked, she also need to hold herself accountable and say, hey, I have boundaries. I know how I want to be spoken to. I know how I want to be treated. So I'm going to respect myself enough that even if you choose to not move this way, or even if you choose to not respect it, I'm going to make sure that you hear me loud and clear. We're not going to do that around here. You either respect it or you don't. Accountability is so important within yourself, within your own growth, within your own journey. Because if you cannot hold yourself accountable, you're never going to go anywhere. You are literally going to be on the same roller coaster ride, time and time again, doing the same thing over and over again because you lack accountability. You don't see nothing wrong in your actions. You don't see nothing wrong in the moves that you make. And you definitely don't see nothing wrong because nobody else around you sees anything wrong. And going back down to accountability and us being on a two-way street when it comes down to being accounted for. Y'all that be liking to hang around with yes men's and yes women's. Y'all don't like accountability. Y'all don't want to be held accounted for. And that's why you're going to stay exactly where you're at. I said what I said. Because in order for you to know where you fell short at, you have to have people around you who are not afraid to check you, who are not afraid to put you in your place when you get out of it. Come on. Bring it down a couple of notches. Okay? Bring down a couple of notches. You're taking it too far. You're doing too much. Everybody needs somebody like that, and they can't. And so for y'all who have yes men and yes women, I'm going to need you to find a new camp. I'm going to need you to find people around you that's going to hold you accountable so that you can hold yourself accountable too. Accountability is a two-way street. It's a community. It's a place. It's a time. It's everything. But it ultimately starts and stops with you. If you can't look at yourself and look at your life and say, wait a minute, we're going on year 4. And I still don't have nothing to show for it. I'm going on year 4 and I'm still struggling. I'm still not in school. I still haven't graduated. I still haven't found better. I still. That's not the world's problem. That's a self problem. What do you lack? What do you need to gain? Where do you need to go? How do you need to grow? That's all accountability. And that's all individual. That's all individual. You got to be able to look at yourself and say, hey, I'm falling short. I need to do better. I need to be better. What am I going to do to get there? Literally, my tested 20s, I was running from accountability in so many different ways, so many different aspects of it. And I wasn't even running away because of fear or anything along those lines. I was running away because of failure. Failure. If I have to hold myself accountable, then that means I did something wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to have fallen short in this area of my life. I'm better than that. I should know better than that. I should be better than that. Nah, babes. The moment that you check yourself, the moment that you find better, the moment that you know that there's better that needs to be done, that is enough. That is enough. Whether that is month 5 in your new relationship or year 1 of your singlehood, the moment that you are able to check yourself is the moment that matters. It doesn't matter how long it took you there. It doesn't matter how long of a process is going to be moving forward. That moment matters because not a lot of people have that moment. Now people have that level of discernment. Now people have that level of awareness that they're like, I've fallen short. Let me help myself back up. And if I can't pick myself back up, let me reach out to my community. Let me reach out to people that I care about, the people that love me, the people that knows me to the best of my ability. Let me reach out to them and tell them, hey, I need you. I need your help. I am so thankful, so thankful that I am a part of so many different communities. It makes no sense. My community is a web of a web of a web of a web of a web. And I'm so thankful for that, because I just know that when those people need me, they know to reach out. And they know every single time that they reach out to me, I'm there. I'm there to hold you accountable. But I'm also there to reassure you and let you know that it's okay, that you did not know what you know, but now you do. So what are we going to do about it? How are we going to move forward? That's literally all it takes when it comes down to holding yourself accountable, is knowing better and doing the work so that you don't have to be in the same place again. Life is going to come full circle. Life is going to come back to 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 back. And those experiences are going to come back to back to back to back to back. And those experiences are going to keep getting worse before they get better if you're not learning your lesson. If you're not holding yourself accountable. If you're not looking at that experience and say, you know what? Dang, the way that I handled that situation, I shouldn't have handled that situation. Let me do better. If you can't do that, you are going to be on the same seesaw ride for the rest of your life, and it's not going to be fun. It's going to be miserable. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to feel as if nothing is changing. And it's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Nothing is changing because you don't want to change. Nothing is changing because you don't want to change. And that falls under what? Accountability. Being able to what? Account for yourself. And how does that look like? Places, people, things, actions, and reactions. That all falls on you. Nobody else. Just a quick sidebar. Clearly, accountability was a topic that we needed to speak about, because the malfunctions that your girl has been going through for this one episode. Let me find out y'all needed to hear this word, okay? When I mean the camera all of a sudden overheated, and then my computer died all of a sudden. Babes, you were just charged. Whatever. Trial and error, okay? When the plans change, we change with them, okay? So if y'all see the little angles switch here and there, mind your business, okay? The show will always go on. But on the real, like, accountability is an everyday process, okay? It's not going to happen overnight, but it is your responsibility as a self, as an individual, to do the work that needs to be done so that you can learn from those mistakes. Accountability is a two-way street. You should never want people around you in your camp, in your circle, in your community that cannot hold you accountable when you are falling short. I want you to tell me that I fell short. I want you to tell me that I could have stepped up a little bit better. I want you to tell me that I hurt your feelings. I want you to communicate your needs to me, because in a way, by you communicating your needs to me, you're also holding yourself accountable to stay true to you. Stay true to the boundaries that you set for yourself. Stay true to the way that you want words to be spoken over you, etc., etc., etc. Through that situation and scenario that I had with my mother back in 2017, 16, 18, whenever, I knew then that I had to be very mindful of the words that I spoke over others, because I did not like the way that my mother spoke over me at my most vulnerable self, and she didn't even know it. I was proactively making sure that those people who I decided to have around my community and to have around me, that y'all also knew, if I'm going to check my mama about this, I'm going to check y'all too. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Okay. And for some, they were okay with understanding, like, okay, well, the way that I used to talk to you, or how I used to talk to you, or how I used to move with you, I can't move that way. Okay, let me meet you where you're at. And then for others, They couldn't accept the fact that I was telling them that you can't move the way that you once moved with me. And if that's what you want to continue to do, then you're not going to have any ties or any affiliation with me. It was either one or the other. And if you can't pick, I'm going to pick for you. Peace out, my brother. Peace out, my sister. Okay? If you don't hold yourself accountable, who will? And if your community don't hold you accountable, who will? You see? It just goes hand in hand. It just goes hand in hand, you know? And after all of these malfunctions and just all over the place, we're just going to wrap it up here. We're just going to wrap up today's episode right here because I'll be damned. Okay? I'll be damned. As always, please like, share, and subscribe and do all that good stuff, baby, because you don't want to miss out on the next episode. I would love to hear your personal perspectives when it comes down to holding yourself accountable. Was it easy? Was it hard? Was it something that you had difficulty with accepting? Was it easy? Was it hard for those around you? How is it now that you are holding yourself accountable versus the way that it once was before? Is it better? Is it worse? Are you more at peace? Are you more living on the edge? Are you okay with being the villain sometimes? I would love to hear what y'all have to say. But as always, please be gentle with yourself. Please have patience with yourself, and you don't have to be perfect to do either or. Until next time.